There are two important fundamental qualities you should be looking out for in a potential mediator for mediating your injury case, your employment case, or a business dispute, and pretty much any other type of civil case. Before I talk about these two qualities, I would just like to mention that I believe that contrary to what many people out there say, not all mediators are the same, and having the right mediator can make a big difference between settling a case and not settling the case, or getting closer to settlement versus not getting anywhere. So let's talk about these two important qualities that are often overlooked and are often missing in mediators to make the mediation work and to make the most out of that process. The first quality is knowledge of the applicable law and practical experience pursuing or defending similar cases in court. It is true that when the mediation happens, parties submit their mediation briefs several days ahead, which outline the facts of the position of each side as well as the applicable law. But you really don't want your mediator to hear about the applicable law for the first time when they read the mediation briefs. Ideally, your mediator should be experienced enough in that area of law to know the subtleties of the law, to know how things really play out in real life and in court, to be able to identify the typical strengths and weaknesses which are almost always present in just about any case. Without that type of experience, that mediator is not going to be able to do much beyond saying to each side, you know, trial is expensive, depositions are expensive, juries are unpredictable, judges are unpredictable, you're better off settling in order to avoid all that risk. Those arguments are often valid and they're often part of the whole process anyway, but that alone is often not convincing enough for you or for the other side in order to accept a certain offer from the other side. That's not enough. You want your mediator to dig in deep into the facts of your side of the story, the opposing party's side of the story, apply the law, and explain to you in plain, understandable terms what can go right and what can go wrong in your case, beyond all the uncertainties of juries and judges and courts and all that other stuff that we all know about very well. So just because someone says that he's been mediating cases for 30 years, or if you have a potential mediator who is a retired judge who has been sitting on a bench for 30 years, that doesn't mean that they know enough about your case, or that doesn't mean that they know enough about the law, rather, that will govern your case and that will apply to your dispute. That's not enough. You really want them to have specific experience that's relevant to your case, to your dispute, and to your mediation. The second fundamental quality that's very important to have in a mediator is that your mediator should have the right personality. When parties settle at the mediation, they want to understand why they're making the right decision. You want to have the type of mediator who has the right presence, who has the right personality, and who can communicate effectively why the decision that he or she recommends that you make is the right decision and is the fair decision. If your mediator knows a lot of law and he knows a lot of facts about your case and he has a long resume of prior accomplishments and prior victories, but he's unable to communicate effectively to you what you need to do and why, you're not going to be convinced. And if you're not convinced, you're not going to feel good about that decision that maybe everyone wants you to make. And if you don't feel comfortable, you're unlikely to make that decision, and if you do, you're not going to feel good about it, and that's going to cause all kinds of problems. So keep these two fundamental qualities in mind when you pick the mediator, and it will serve you very well, and chances are that your mediation will go much better than otherwise.